How do you process your bass? It's a funny question, really. My first instinct is to say, use your ears and figure it out yourself. It sounds a bit harsh, but the truth is, no one can magically train your ears for you through the internet. However, I understand that with all the astonishing tools available in software form, navigating this world can be overwhelming. Welcome to BEATCAST, where we explore the ins and outs of the music industry and share tips to help you succeed in your musical journey. I'm Yek, and today, we're diving into an essential topic for anyone: processing bass. From EQs, compressors, and saturators, to exciters and modulation effects, the options are endless. Each tool comes in different flavors and combinations, with vendors promoting their unique brand of magic. The internet buzzes with talk of side-chained compression, mid-side processing, multi-band compression, and layering sine waves. It's easy to feel lost if you don't know where to start. In many modern music styles, bass plays a crucial role. However, the way you process your bass depends entirely on what it sounds like raw and what you want it to sound like. Processing is simply the journey from one sound to another. My personal settings won't work for you because your raw sound isn't my raw sound, and my desired sound isn't your desired sound. We're working in different styles of music, with different mixes and different creative directions. Plus, we're using different tool sets in different studios. Perhaps my initial response was a way to avoid the real issue. You want help, but I can't be there to guide you every step of the way. Instead, let's talk about some of the tools you might use and how they can help you transform your raw sound into your desired sound. Processing bass, EQ. When it comes to processing bass, the most essential tool is EQ. EQ allows you to emphasize and de-emphasize different frequency ranges. Pushed to extremes, it can even change the voicing of the bass, affecting where it sits in the mix and how the tone evolves with each note. Before reaching for EQ, it's crucial to understand your monitoring environment. While I won't delve too deeply into this now, perhaps another time, your monitoring environment includes factors such as your speakers, sitting position, room size and dimensions, and the furniture in the room. Room acoustics are complex and subtle, and knowing your monitoring environment well means listening to a lot of music in it. EQing instruments is challenging if you're unfamiliar with your monitoring environment, especially for bass. In most rooms, the bass response is more uneven than any other frequency range, and the mix space for bass can get quite cramped. Assuming you're ready to EQ, the goal is to listen to your raw sound and imagine what the end result should sound like. If you can do this, you'll avoid wasting time playing with your tools. This skill comes with experience, which is why making as much music as possible is so important. In the meantime, what should you do? There are numerous EQ guides online detailing various EQ ranges or specific frequencies and describing the effects of boosting or dipping each frequency. While these guides can be interesting, they are ultimately just opinions. Instead, I suggest getting hands-on and exploring the frequency spectrum yourself with your ears, your tools, in your studio. Grab an EQ and experiment with boosting and cutting at various frequencies on your own sounds. Start training your ears to recognize what each frequency range sounds like. Understanding your raw sound is as important as achieving the desired end result. For instance, if dipping at 100 Hz brings you closer to your desired sound, bypass the EQ and listen to the raw sound. Recognize that this is what too much 100 Hz sounds like. Conversely, if boosting at 100 Hz brings you closer to your desired sound, bypass the EQ and understand that this is what not enough 100 Hz sounds like. Get to know your sound intimately. Depend entirely on your raw sound and your desired outcome. I've lost count of how many times I've seen this exchange. Compression is a powerful tool for shaping your bass from raw to refined. Traditionally, compression reduces the dynamic range of audio by leveling out loud and soft parts. For instance, when working with a recording of a bassist, Compression can smooth out variations where some notes are played stronger or weaker than others. In electronic music, dynamics are often controlled by MIDI data, ensuring consistent note levels regardless of how keys are struck. Yet, nuances in volume can still arise from how filters and EQs interact with different bass notes. Moreover, room acoustics can unintentionally amplify certain frequencies over others, acting like an additional layer of EQ or filtering. If you suspect your bass line has uneven levels between notes, check your level meters. If what you hear aligns with what you see, compression can help even out those discrepancies. If levels appear consistent on your meters, the issue may lie in your monitoring setup, where compression won't provide a fix. When using compression to manage level changes caused by EQ or filtering, position the compressor after these effects for optimal control. This setup ensures the compressor responds accurately to what you hear. Conversely, placing EQ or filters after compression might introduce new level variations that the compressor can't effectively address. When setting up your compressor, start with a fast attack, medium release, and high ratio. Adjust the threshold so quieter notes trigger compression while louder ones remain unaffected. Opt for a hard knee for more abrupt compression onset. If you notice bass levels dropping too sharply after peaks, shorten the release time for quicker compression response. Conversely, if the bass sounds distorted, lengthen the release for smoother compression. For scenarios where certain notes need to stand out, like during filter sweeps, consider reducing the compression ratio. This adjustment allows louder notes to punch through more prominently. When EQing your bass, consider equal loudness contours. Humans are more sensitive to upper mids than lower mids, and least sensitive to frequencies below 100 Hz and above 5 Hz. This sensitivity affects how much level you need at different frequencies. Lower frequencies require more level, potentially overpowering the mix and necessitating overall volume adjustments. It can also pose challenges with compression or limiting on the master bus or during mastering. Conversely, problems can arise in the upper spectrum where we're more sensitive to lower mids than bass. Boosting 75 Hz can enhance without overwhelming, whereas even a slight boost at 250 Hz might become overpowering. This explains why dipping lower mids often sounds better than reducing bass. However, remember that lower mids define the bass's character, while bass frequencies provide its body and upper mids articulate its presence. I want character and body in my bass, I hear you cry. Yes, achieving that balance is crucial. More character means less need for body, and vice versa. You don't need excessive character for a bass to be distinctive, nor overwhelming body for it to sound thick and deep. It's about subtle shifts in emphasis rather than radical reshaping. Rather than solely relying on volume adjustments, consider character and body as a delicate equilibrium. Too much of one can diminish the impact of the other. For instance, a bass with pronounced character may require less emphasis on its body to maintain clarity. Conversely, a bass with substantial body might benefit from less character to prevent muddiness. Ultimately, achieving the desired character and body in your bass is a nuanced art, requiring careful consideration of how each element contributes to the overall mix. Balance is key to creating a bass line that not only sounds powerful, but also sits well within your music's context. Processing bass. Saturation. So far, we've covered two essential tools for mix engineers: EQ and compression. Now, let's dive into one of my favorites, saturation. How can saturation enhance your bass? Saturation offers several benefits simultaneously. It reduces the track's headroom requirements, enhances bass audibility on smaller speakers, boosts power on larger speakers, and helps the bass sit more consistently in the mix. Unlike a limiter or compressor, which limits signal peaks by reducing volume, saturation achieves a similar effect by adding harmonics and a touch of distortion to the loudest parts of the signal. This process softens the peaks, making them more uniform with quieter notes. Essentially, Saturation transforms some of the lower frequency energy into higher frequency components. What does this sound like in practice? It should sound like the bass maintains a consistent level, with stronger notes becoming slightly noisier rather than louder. Using saturation with a moderate threshold ensures that most notes are saturated, not just the loudest ones, resulting in a slightly noisier overall bass line. This noise comprises upper harmonics related to the bass's pitch. Because these harmonics are higher in frequency, they remain audible even on smaller speakers that may struggle with reproducing very low bass frequencies. This ensures your bass line remains clear and present without relying on large speaker systems. On larger speakers, these added upper harmonics reinforce the bass's fundamental frequencies, enhancing its perceived power and presence in the mix. When selecting saturation tools and settings, experimentation is key. Saturation processors vary widely in their methods and controls, often lacking standardized settings like EQs and compressors. As a guideline, remember that less saturation often achieves more desirable results. There's no need to push the bass into heavy distortion to benefit from saturation's effects. Processing bass. Layering. It involves adding different elements together to build a composite sound. In contrast to subtractive synthesis, which starts with a full sound and removes elements, layering allows you to combine various qualities like body and character to tailor the bass for your track. Recall the discussion on achieving balance between character and body. Sometimes, your main bass sound might have a strong body, energy below 100 Hz, but lack character, above 100 Hz. Other times, you might love a bass sound with plenty of character but insufficient body. Layering enables you to blend these elements to create a bass sound that fits your song perfectly. The key to successful layering is maintaining focus on your objective. Without a clear vision, it's easy to end up with a muddy, indistinct sound. For instance, if your deep synth bass sounds great at the bottom end but loses impact in a busy mix, instead of brightening it with filters or saturation, consider adding a second layer. This new element can introduce character in the lower mids without altering the foundational bass sound. Even if quieter, this additional layer can effectively enhance the overall texture. Conversely, if your bass has rich character in the lower mids but lacks presence below 100 Hz, or suffers from inconsistent levels across its range, avoid boosting or compressing excessively. Instead, add a complementary layer dedicated to covering the lower frequencies. This approach allows the original layer to focus on its strengths, whether in the lower mids or another characteristic range. If your bass line covers a wide note range, simplifying the lower layer can help it maintain clarity and cohesion under the mix. This strategic layering ensures each component serves a specific purpose, preventing overcrowding and preserving the integrity of your bass sound. Layering is a powerful technique for refining your bass sound, offering flexibility to achieve both depth and character without compromising clarity in your mix. Experiment with different combinations to discover the perfect blend for your tracks.